Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, veterans. Welcome to another Facebook Live. I am veteran coach Gil Shuga here at VA Claims Insider alongside my buddy, Coach Ash Harmon. Ash, how you doing today?
Good to see you, brother. Good. Fantastic. Another
Excellent.
day of helping veterans, man. Love it.
Absolutely. We're going to give everybody a few minutes to get situated, to get settled in. Grab yourself your beverage of choice, coffee, water, soda, tea, whatever you happen to be enjoying today. This is another Wednesday Facebook Live. As you're getting settled, we ask you up in the comments there, throw us your name, where you're located, the branch, and when you served. We'd love to see that. Of course, Ash and I are both Navy men, so we're hoping to see that our blue and brown water sailors outnumber the rest of you, but that's rarely the case.
Yeah, those Army guys come in full force, and gals, excuse me. So,
Indeed,
they come in full force.
Indeed, they do.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing any comments yet. Ash, are you seeing anything?
Not as of yet.
Yeah, we'll get it. They'll pop in. Maybe we have a shy bunch today. There we go.
Yep. Those Army guys coming out. First one, Dave.
Okay. There we go.
Glad you're here, Dave.
Army, Air Force. Nice to see everybody.
Whoop, whoop. Go Navy.
Our Marine brothers. All right. Always nice to see. We have to. Ash, where are you located, by the way?
I'm in beautiful San Antonio, Texas.
There you go. I'm a little bit west of you. I'm in the Phoenix area. Get a chance to visit San Antonio. We have family there. always a fun visit. Big fan of the hill country.
So. We got Robert down in Port St. Lucie. I was close to there last week. Beautiful down there.
That's right. You just took some vacation, didn't you?
Semi-vacation, yeah. Yes, sir.
A little mix. All right. More Navy folks, more Marines. All right.
Got a Tucson, Arizona in there.
There we go. Joe's down from my home state. Glad to see you. Love seeing everybody and where they're located. We have vets all across the country and outside the country as well as some of our coaches are outside the country. So we do our best to accommodate everybody, although we recognize that, you're all in different time zones. For some of you, it's late in the day. Some it's lunchtime. Some are just getting started. Glad to have you wherever you are, whatever time it is there.
Absolutely. Yeah, they are trickling in good.
They are indeed. Love to see some of our more senior vets. Glad to have you.
Yeah, it should be an exciting day. This is a topic that I enjoy and could always learn more about as well. So,
while the rest of you are getting settled, why don't we go ahead and get started here? Let me give you our little bit of an introduction and disclaimer so that you understand who we are and what we're doing. Let me tell you about the VA Claims Insiders Elite Program. First of all, we are not accredited agents, VSOs, attorneys, or any other entity recognized by the Department of Veterans Affairs, the VA. We are not affiliated with the VA in any way. VA Claims Insider is an education-based coaching consulting company for disabled veterans exploring eligibility for increased VA disability benefits and who wish to learn more about that process. VA Claims Insider also connects veterans with vetted independent medical professionals in our preferred medical provider network for medical examinations and independent medical opinions, IMO, for a wide range of disability conditions. Now, when you work with us in our elite membership program, we help you with what we call our Strategic Education and Medical Evidence Program, SEM. We rely on those three concepts to help you get the benefits that you deserve. We are a coaching and consulting company, as we said, an educational service. We provide one-on-one coaching with veterans. Hello, feedback there. You work with your coach when you work with us for a strategy session to help you determine the best path to get you the benefits that you deserve, guide you and coach you through your claim submission, and prepare you for the C&P exam, the compensation and pension exam, which we realize, and you should too, is the most important day in your claim process. We also offer live classes via Zoom, which all of our members have access to on an unlimited basis. We typically do 3 classes a day, most days of the week. We also offer a morning session called Coffee with the Coaches for a little camaraderie sharing and information sharing as well. We offer mental health exam preparations for those of you that are seeking either an initial rating for a mental health rating or an increase in one, as well as medical exam preparation. Now, if you're not working with us now and you want to be interested in getting started, you can sign up for a free discovery call where one of our representatives will get on the phone with you and explain our process to you, answer any questions you might have, and help you get signed up so that you can start working with a coach, someone like Ash, someone like myself, one of our other about 50 coaches now, I think it is. Reach out and you can start working with us to get the benefits that you deserve. Now, if you have a question, go ahead and throw it in the chat. We'll do our best to answer them as we go along. If we miss your question, we'll try to do our best to come back to it. We'll have somebody answer it as best we can. Ash helps us out here. What are we going to talk about?
Yeah, absolutely. So today we're going to be talking about CHAMPVA, and that's the Civilian Health and Medical Program through the Department of Veterans Affairs. It's among the many benefits not clearly understood by the veteran community. I believe you and I were talking before the class actually started. That's something that we're kind of digging to as well. So there's a lot of moving parts to it, and there are some myths about CHAMPVA. So as a result, some dependents might be actually missing out on some of the healthcare programs and are stuck paying exorbitant rates for the private insurance. And many veterans haven't even heard of CHAMPVA. So today we're going to be covering, again, some of those myths and some details about CHAMPVA. And there's a lot of misinformation out there. So we're going to set the record straight by busting on some of the most common myths about CHAMPVA. And once we get done at the end, you'll find a bonus resource that we've added. It's going to be a section with some helpful CHAMPVA links and some phone numbers for you. Now, CHAMPVA it's only for dependents, either your spouse, widow, widower, and your children of veterans. It's not for the veterans themselves. Veterans are ineligible for TRICARE, but who medically retired from the military or have a VA rating for a service-connected disability. May be eligible for care from the VA, but they don't qualify for CHAMPVA.
Exactly. And myth number 2, a lot of people think, I can choose between TRICARE and CHAMPVA. Well, that's not true. If you are eligible for TRICARE, you do not qualify for CHAMPVA. Remember, that's for dependents and survivors of permanently disabled and disability benefits. Now, here's the criteria for qualifying for CHAMPVA. You have to be ineligible for TRICARE. You have to be an immediate family member, spouse, or child of a veteran who has been rated permanently and totally disabled due to a service-connected disability, or immediate family members of a veteran who was rated permanently and totally disabled due to service-connected condition at the time of death, even if the condition was not the cause of death, or, a lot of ors here, right? Immediate family member of a veteran who died of a service-connected disability, or immediate family members of a veteran who died on active duty and who is not eligible for TRICARE. This is rare. Most of these dependents are eligible for TRICARE. And as you can see, there's a lot of specific requirements to be eligible for CHAMPVA, but they refer to the immediate family members, not the veteran themselves. Dependents of both active duty and retired service members, including medically retired service members, are generally eligible for TRICARE. However, Other separated service personnel typically are not.
Good point there. I like how you pointed out the or. That's something that you really have to pay attention to, is the or the and. But the myth 3, which is TRICARE and CHAMPVA are essentially the same. TRICARE used to be known as CHAMPUS, and that's the Civilian Health and Medical Program of Uniformed Services. It's a mouthful. Since CHAMPUS and CHAMPVA sound familiar, those two programs frequently are mixed up. But while both TRICARE and CHAMPVA are comprehensive health benefits programs, they're different from each other. TRICARE is regionally managed, while the Veterans Health Administration, or CHAMPVA, is managed by the VA Health Administration Office of Integrated Veteran Care. It's always a tough one to say. But TRICARE leverages a network of military hospitals, clinics, civilian healthcare systems to meet its members' needs, while CHAMPVA providers are civilian doctors, and when available, it'll be at the VA facilities.
That's absolutely right. And, you know, I was taking a quick glance at some of the questions, and pay attention, because a lot of the questions you folks are asking about CHAMPVA are going to be answered as we go along. I know there was specific questions about how long does it take, who's eligible, children's ages, all that kind of stuff. So we're going to get to a lot of those things. And if we don't answer your questions throughout the presentation, we're going to do our best to answer them after we get through this. But I'm glad you're paying attention. Great questions. Myth number 4, with CHAMPVA, I cannot choose my own providers. CHAMPVA provides coverage through civilian doctors, and you can choose which participating provider you want to visit. If you look at the list of TRICARE and Medicare providers in your area, that's an excellent place to start locating a doctor who will accept CHAMPVA, which is also known as accepting assignments. That refers to how they get paid. They have to agree to be a participant in the process, in the system that pays them the way CHAMPVA does. Now, if a provider accepts TRICARE, there's a good chance they will also accept CHAMPVA. If they accept Medicare, they are contractually obligated to accept CHAMPVA. So when you call to make an appointment with a provider, double check that they accept assignment for CHAMPVA. That's the phrase that you want to use. In addition to seeking treatment from civilian providers who accept CHAMPVA, you may also seek treatment at participating VA facilities. However, and this is important, some VA facilities cannot accept dependents from the CHAMPVA program due to the volume of veterans they see. Remember, for the VA, their priority is going to be treating the veterans. If they can fit the dependents in, they'll do that. If they can't, you're going to have to go outside on the CHAMPVA system for that.
Good stuff there. So myth 5 is I must pay premiums and other hidden costs with CHAMPVA. There aren't any premiums with CHAMPVA. The basic coverage is free. However, there are copays, and after an annual deductible of $50 per individual or $100 per family, you'll be responsible for a copay of 25% of the covered amount. However, if you pay more than $3,000 out of pocket in 1 year, you'll hit your catastrophic cap, and you won't be expected to pay any more. CHAMPVA will cover your copays after that. Now, doctors who accept assignment with CHAMPVA, they will bill CHAMPVA on your behalf. So this means that the provider accepts CHAMPVA and agrees to accept its allowable amount as payment in full. And a provider cannot bill you for the difference between the allowable amount and their normally billed amount. You're only responsible for the copay. Now, a couple of things are 100% covered under CHAMPVA. It doesn't involve copay, which is hospice care, prescriptions if you use the VA meds by mail program. And also the third thing is preventative services. That can be anything from colorectal cancer screenings, prostate cancer screenings, your annual physical exam, and so on. but also actually vaccination and immunizations, as well as childcare as well. I want to make sure I pointed those out as well. A few things.
Absolutely. Now, let's get into myth 6 here. I can choose between CHAMPVA and Medicare. Well, no. Once you're eligible for Medicare Parts A and B, you must enroll in these programs. To continue your CHAMPVA eligibility, in almost all cases, you must enroll in and remain in Medicare Part B. CHAMPVA will become your secondary insurance and will cover many out-of-pocket costs not covered by these Medicare plans. CHAMPVA does not cover Medicare Part B premiums. Do that on your own.
So this is actually a good one. It's kind of funny I got this one. So myth 7, it takes forever to enroll in CHAMPVA. Now this is this is actually a partial myth, right? So we've heard of instances where it takes up to 8 months to enroll in CHAMPVA. We've also heard of the process taking several weeks when the applicant has done their due diligence. And so you want to start by filling out the VA form 10-10 Delta in its entirety. Make sure to include all of your supporting documents. If a reviewer looks at your application, finds it's missing some supporting documents, it could delay the process. And there are additional required documents as well. So when going through this process, again, as long as you have everything initially, the VA kind of moves at their own pace, but you'll also need to fill out the VA form 10-7959 Charlie, which is your other health insurance, on which you can declare any other health insurance you have. You need a copy of your Medicare card if you're Medicare eligible. If you're 65 or older and not entitled to Medicare, you got to send them proof from the Social Security Administration of that. So there are some optional documents, but I strongly recommend if you want to expedite your enrollment that you would submit this information with them, which is your VA rating decision showing that the sponsoring veteran, if that is you, is permanent and totally disabled, or death rating if they're deceased. For Vietnam veterans, you need a copy of your D-214, certificate of release from active duty. If you're World War II or Korean War vets, you've got to have a report of separation. For your dependents, because that's ultimately what this is about, you're going to need their birth certificate, adoption papers if applicable. If you're aged 18 to 23, you're going to need your certification if they're in full-time college, and so on. As far as your surviving spouse, if you're remarried after the military, your spouse's death, and now you're single again, you'll need to provide legal documentation of the termination of your remarriage. That was a mouthful. That may sound a little confusing, but there are a lot of things that you want to make sure you get submitted when you're going for the application there. So now the bonus, we have some helpful CHAMPVA resources. So we've got the CHAMPVA number, basically a lot of the information that I was just speaking on about the additional documentation that's required, some helpful hints on filing your CHAMPVA claims, info for the beneficiaries. There's a provider portal for CHAMPVA, and information for the providers as well. So those should be showing up there.
And that link that's on the screen right now, that's to our article, an article on our website, VAClaimsinsider.com, which will go over these myths if you want to go over them again, if you want to read over them, if you want to see the links on there. They'll all be located on there. Great job, Ash. Great information. There's a variety of different links. If you go to our website, if you go to VAClaimsinsider.com, at that link right there, you'll see other links to helpful information in that article, all designed to help you get the information that you deserve. Now, Ash, I was kind of going through the questions there, and it looks like we answered most of them along the way. If anybody's got anything that we didn't answer, feel free to reiterate for us. We'll do the best we can to make sure everything's covered up. Just to, in general, I know that some of you asked, you were talking about how long it takes. We talked about that. We're talking about Medicare. We talked about that. Talking about ages for dependents. We talked about that. All of those are pertinent questions. And as you can imagine, as you can see, there's a lot of misunderstanding and incorrect knowledge about CHAMPVA, which is why they're myths and why we get to be your mythbusters today. So let's see.
So
Go ahead, Des.
I was going to read Fatima. Hopefully, I'm saying your name properly. So she said I was incorrect on covering the preventative appointment. They didn't cover my immunizations. It's actually a good point. How would you approach that, Gil? If they
Well,
didn't cover that, based on what we're
if,
talking
if
about?
it's if it's supposed to be a covered benefit and your provider didn't accept assignment, so to speak, they weren't willing to accept that payment, that might be a matter of your provider being wrong or them not being a fully authorized or provider. Check with um, CHAMPVA folks directly and see what the difference is. When a provider agrees to accept assignments, as the phrase is, basically to accept your CHAMPVA insurance, they agree to all of the rules, not just some of the rules. And so check with CHAMPVA directly and see if there was a mistake somewhere, if there's an exception somewhere that we weren't aware of. And we'll certainly look on our end and make sure that we still have accurate information. We pride ourselves in trying to remain as current as possible on all things VA, but as you well know, sometimes rules change. So we'll do our best to check on that. But thanks for the info. Appreciate that. That's enlightening, potentially eye opening, and we'll check on it on our end.
Yeah, I'll kind of elaborate a little bit more on that too, Coach Gill, which is, there are a lot of questions out there, and trust me, I have these questions all throughout the day as well. I'm 100% permanent and total with the help of VA Claims Insider. So I always say I'm not just a coach, I'm also a client. Uh, and it's the only bill that I pay each month that I actually have a smile on my face. But yeah, there are a lot of moving parts to this, and we do have a lot of good resources out there. If you are signed up on our elite program, get with your coach so we can get you on the right path to getting the if you qualify for 100% permanent and total, that's a conversation that can be had, as well as some other benefits that you may qualify for with 100% permanent total as well.
We have a couple of questions in the chat that are unrelated to CHAMPVA, and that's fine. Gary Root, in particular, asked about his particular condition. Let me let you all know that we really can't give you an opinion about the likelihood of a particular claim being approved. We don't know the facts. We don't know the medical evidence. But in general, the way you get a VA claim approved is by providing the appropriate medical evidence that you had an in-service event or occurrence or diagnosis, a current diagnosis of the condition, and a nexus, a connection between those two things. If you have all three of those things, you'll get your claim approved. But if you're missing any one of those, the VA simply cannot say yes. And so the likelihood of a particular condition being approved relies on those, relies on that triangle. And we add a fourth side to that and talk about the frequency and severity and duration of your claim. And when you work with us here at VA Claims Insider, you'll be assigned a veteran coach, and they'll walk you through that exact process. They'll strategize with you on what claims you're likely to get approved and which are losers. And we're going to be honest with you. If that's not going to be worth your time and energy, we're not going to recommend that you pursue it. There are a lot of claims that vets get wrong information about and think, well, they should approve this for this reason. Just because you think they should approve it doesn't mean that they're going to approve it. If you don't have, the three requirements in order to get a claim approved, it's not going to be approved. And more likely than not, you need medical evidence to support that claim. That is the key. We have a medical provider network with which we work rather. where we can get you some medical help and information that might support your claim. And again, when you work with us, you have the benefit of us being able to send you to folks like that that understand how to work with vets. It's a company called Telemedica. And when you're a client of ours, you get a substantial discount on their services simply for being a client of ours. They understand what the VA is looking for. They understand the VA claims process, and they understand how to write a report when you have a legitimate claim that they can support with an appropriate independent medical opinion, a nexus letter, or a DBQ, a disability benefit questionnaire, which is one of the things that if you know, you know. So, fair question, though. Sorry we can't answer specifics about your particular claim, Gary.
I see a few links to some helpful articles and some information from our quality control, a few other people in there too. So definitely appreciate it.
You know, if you want to talk to us about signing up with us, there was just a link up for a discovery call. We recommend that you reach out, you talk to one of our reps. They'll explain the process to you, explain how we work, what we do, what we do provide, what we don't provide. Again, we're a coaching and educational service. We're not a done-for-you service. We're not going to be filling out forms. We're not going to be submitting your claim. We're not going to be accessing your medical records. We are a coaching and educational service, and we will help you be the best claimant you can be. That's our job here. But take that discovery call. If you're not currently a client, look into being a client. We'd love to work with you. We work with tens of thousands of vets. That discovery call is free. You can sign up for that. One of our reps will give you a call and talk about it. See if we're a good fit for you. We'd love to bring you on board. Have you join the tens of thousands of vets that are very happily getting the benefits that they deserve.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That was nuts. Huh.
Yeah, Veronica, I can't speak to the availability of providers in your particular area. As we said, you want to check other doctors that provide Medicare. They're obviously required to accept CHAMPVA as well. You might want to reach back to the CHAMPVA folks themselves and see if they have any insight or can help you. But you know, again, every area is different. And as we said, in some areas, your VA services are available to you because they're not as busy as others. They're going to treat the veterans only because that's all they have capacity to do.
I know we had a few questions on there. Make sure we kind of touched on, you know, as far as what's the age limit on the child. Did you already touch on those? Did we get those answered when we went through the presentation? Doreen and Christy were asking about the age.
I think we did. We did talk about that.
Okay.
It's 23 while they're enrolled in college.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Okay.
Keep me in check, Gil. I appreciate it, man.
No, you're doing great. You're doing great. There's a lot of information. It's I know we threw a lot at all of you, so imagine we're trying to share it with you. It's like, okay, here it is, here it is, here it is. Yeah. It's our pleasure to share it, but there's an awful lot of information. That's why we put the link to the article up on our webpage. You can go ahead and take a look at that. If you were scribbling notes because we're talking kind of fast, we certainly understand that. And you know what? At its core, CHAMPVA is another insurance program. It's a health insurance program for dependents of veterans. And because of that, you have to look at it like an insurance program, right? You have to make sure that you meet all the qualifications. You have to make sure that you jump through the right hoops. Yes, it can be daunting. We understand that. Stay the course. There's help for you. I know that somebody, I think it was Gerald up in the comments, mentioned that he was having trouble with it, and he finally got his senator involved. But that's certainly an option. You have elected representatives that are there to help you. All right. Let's see. Rafael Pinado. The clinic that takes care of CHAMPVA patients has canceled seeing my wife because they say they haven't been paid in a long time. My wife has Medicare, so who should the clinic send the bills to? Boy, sorry, man. I wish you weren't in that circumstance, but that sounds like a business issue between the clinic and CHAMPVA. You know, I don't know if there's a delay or if they just don't like how long it takes for the process to occur. Um, insurance companies and the government combined, it's kind of a behemoth that moves fairly slowly. Um, Fortunately, with Medicare, she has the option to go someplace else if she needs that treatment, and that's to her benefit. But as far as who they should send their bills to, I can't help you with that. That's something that clinic is going to have to work out with the CHAMPVA system itself.
Well, we're seeing a lot of questions, so we're trying to take care of all of them as we can. But yeah, there are a lot of questions. Wasn't sure who one of those was, as far as questions aren't seen. Um, so you may want to re-ask that so we can kind of get that addressed if we haven't already.
Yeah, and if you can throw your name up there, so at least we can see who that is. We know how to look for it. Um, they don't show up if we can't find it. Let's see. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Fatima has more good advice about the patient advocates work to help you out. That's good. Obviously, she has a lot of experience, and unfortunately, like a lot of sometimes experience is your knowledge is born out of bad experiences, but you learn. You learn how to work within a system. You learn how to facilitate your own needs and to get the things that you wanted.
It's in the cards at 2600. What is the name of the other insurance for dependents?
Here's our buddy Ricky Dowdy. Good to see you, Rick. Glad to see you there. Appreciate the kudos. Rick is sharing his experience of kind of beating his head against the wall for years before working with VA Claims Insider. Now he's become 100% permanent in total after working with us. Glad to see that. And K Jams, can I switch to you guys if I already have an attorney or representation? Yeah, you can. You want to divest yourself of that representation before you do. You want to make sure that you don't have any outstanding burdens to them, any debts to them, any claims outstanding. You can work with us. Jump on that discovery call that we talked about. Talk to one of our representatives. Explain your circumstances and your situation, not your particular claims. Again, our reps aren't going to be able to answer your claim questions, but your circumstances, where you are in the process. There's a link for the free discovery call. Where you're on the process, what your hurdles have been, what you're thinking about doing. We get people that come to us from other relationships frequently. If we can help you, we certainly will. If we and honestly, if we can't help you, we'll tell you that too. It doesn't help us to bring you on board for something that we don't do, for something that we don't work with. But you don't really know the answer until you ask the question. So short answer is yes, you can switch. Whether you should switch depends upon your circumstances. Talk to one of our reps on that free discovery call and see if that would be right for you.
Absolutely. Veronica, were you thinking TRICARE? Was that the other insurance that for dependents? TRICARE and CHAMPVA is what we were talking about today. So hopefully there wasn't something else that we mentioned out there.
Ken made a comment. My dad is 80 and he's in better shape than I am at 59. Now the VA wants me to take another claim exam. The VA, if you're not permanent in total, the VA is authorized to do regular future examinations of your condition to confirm that it should still be the rating that you have, or to see if you should have an increased rating. Look, the VA recognizes that as we get older, we don't improve. Okay, we just don't. And that's why they will look at things again. Now, anytime you make a claim, you're opening up yourself to another examination. And that's okay. That's appropriate, particularly if you're making what's called a secondary claim. If you're asserting that your condition that you want service connected was caused by an already service connected condition, that's a secondary claim. They'll oftentimes oftentimes look at the underlying condition to see if it's appropriate to support the secondary condition. So there's several different reasons why they might look at you. But remember, once you become designated as 100% permanent and total, you're off the review list. They're not looking at you again, which is why once you reach that pinnacle, you don't want to start asking for other things, because you're getting the max benefits you're going to get. You're getting the max payment you're going to get. You're entitled to full compensation for everything. You get free medical, health care, and dental for everything, whether it's service connected or not. So there's no reason to try and add something to that. But the VA oftentimes will call a vet in before the permanent total, before they reach certain other milestones, to determine if their rating is still appropriate.
I don't know if you want to tackle this one, Coach Gill, but a couple of the questions I kind of saw coming through about the government debt ceiling, things of that nature.
I'm so far from Washington, I'm not even going to touch that. No, we're not in a position to comment on the negotiations, the decisions, the effects. Let's just wait and see on those.
I will say that Brian Reese, our founder, has some videos out there that he made recently. Those would be good to look at as well. We only can control what we can control. And as far as working with the VA, we're always adjusting and adapting because they change some of their systems around. Laws are always changing. So we try to stay updated on those things. But those are what's in our control.
And I recommend that you stay current on our blog and on our other social media sites, our YouTube page, our Facebook mastermind group like this. Anytime we have new information, we share it immediately as soon as we flesh it out and have information that's legitimate and that we can share. It's our goal to make sure that all veterans are properly supported and informed the best way they can be. That YouTube channel is a great resource for information. You can spend days and days before you exhaust all the information we have there. And that's great if you're a visual learner. If you like to watch a video and listen to someone talk, that's a great way to do it. Almost all of those discussions are also reflected in our blog, where you can read them if you want and have links to other articles as well. So we're here to provide you information. We can't provide you every piece of information right here today about every single thing, but we do our best to keep all of our vets informed about changes in the VA process, government changes that might affect you, laws that are being considered. But we're not going to speculate either. We're not going to, tell you the sky is falling and try and get you all worried before there's anything to worry about. Right now, there's nothing going on that warrants any kind of panic of any kind. Let me address a quick question here. Ash Benny DeMarble, I hope I'm saying that correct. How long after CNP will a claim be decided? Common question. Right now, the VA is deciding claims in a little over 3 months, 3 to 4 months after claim submission. Okay, that's what's going on right now. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less. There's no guarantee about how long that's going to take. It's a combination of how busy the region is where your claim is being decided, how busy the particular rater is, how long it takes them to gather all of the evidence that they need in order to make a decision. It's not measured from the date of the CNP exam. It's measured from the date of your submission. Right now, I think it's around 110 days or so as of last month. Typically 3 to 5 months is what you're seeing from claim submission to decision. Again, give you the most hated answer ever. It depends on all of those things. So.
Yeah, the VA moves at their own pace. It's a phrase that we use quite often because it's the truth, right? I think there were a few questions, and I'm kind of going to go over a little bit more because there were some questions in regards to pretty much qualification for CHAMPVA, right? So I know we touched on that fairly quickly, but yes, permanent and total is what you need for CHAMPVA. If you're not permanent total, you won't be qualifying for CHAMPVA. Kind of goes down the line as far as the other question, which is a widow of a Vietnam vet. whether or not you're able to see your local VA clinic. Again, going to determine that based on where your spouse was in the disabilities process, right?
Yeah, and remember, CHAMPVA is for dependents of veterans, and so when the veteran reaches 100% permanent total, then the dependents become eligible for CHAMPVA, which is an additional health insurance program. And of course, there are a lot of benefits to it. As far as someone asked in chat, and I'm sorry, I don't remember who it was, if it was a better deal or cheaper. I can't speak to the cost of different insurance, programs. I mean, every so often I'll run across somebody personally in my coaching that has super duper amazing insurance that only a few people have, and others, are like most of us trying to get. If we're trying to get private insurance or used to have private insurance, it's like, oh my gosh, it's a nightmare and an outrageous expense. Champ VA is typically better than those things. But of course, like any insurance company, you're going to hear horror stories. You're going to have specific experiences that pertain to that particular claim or that particular treatment or that particular bill. Those are all specific. We can't speak to anyone and say everybody is like this or nobody is like that. It doesn't work that way. You guys all know that. But generally speaking, it is a wonderful benefit for dependents of veterans who are 100% permanent total.
Good point. Not only do you have an amazing voice, you are able to articulate in an amazing way. So I appreciate you, Gil.
Well, I practice talking good. Thank you, Ash. I appreciate that. Right. Where were we here? Anything jump out at you?
There's a whole lot. There's a whole lot.
One of the great things about this particular forum, our Facebook Live forum and our Facebook Mastermind group, there's a wealth of knowledge of other veterans who have worked within the system, who have their own experiences. We have a lot of other coaches. I've seen a couple of other coaches online here as well. A lot of places for you to get information. We strongly recommend that, you be your own best advocate. This is your claim. And as we're fond of saying, nobody should care more about your disability claims than you. So arm yourself, educate yourself. And we try to provide, as I said before, plenty of evidence. One of the things that is this group, this Facebook mastermind group, there are many veterans here that have legitimate, helpful information. Many coaches are in here all of the time. You'll often see Brian Reese here on the Facebook mastermind group, helping vets out, answering questions. And again, I mentioned the YouTube channel. I mentioned the blog. We have a great podcast by one of our coaches, Dr. John Trimble, called Doc on the Road. I love that podcast. It just came back for the next season. A new episode dropped, I think, 2 days ago, where John spent some time talking to one of our other coaches, Coach Daryl McDonald, who's a former VA Raider and used to train the other Raiders as well. So a lot of great information there. So my point is, if you're willing to do the work, there's plenty of helpful information out there for you. You can't say no one provided any help, because here it is. We can't, we can take you to water, we can't make you drink, as the old saying goes, right?
Absolutely. David Jones had a question about checking the status. He said he was getting some conflicting information. Not sure what that conflicting info was, but they are experiencing a backlog from the VA website. So yeah, the best way they say is to reach out for the 800 number there, which I think we had posted in the chat as well, or somewhere on the that information. So yeah, that's what they recommend, is to check the status of your application, to call the 800 number. Let's see, received 100% total disability. Well, that went by fast. Let's see.
Yeah, that's the one that I think you were just talking to David about, that answer. Okay.
Yeah.
Emmanuel Sanchez, 100% PNT. Do I have to go to the VA for emergencies? I went to the ER for a smashed finger that needed stitches, and I got a bill because the VA only covered $200 of the visit. Is this right? That I don't know about the billing aspect of it. Reach out to the VA and see about that. I mean, you're entitled to get your health care anywhere you want, But whether or not it's going to be covered, I think, is a function of a variety of different factors, including what's available to you, the nature of the condition, the nature of the treatment. Reach out to the VA directly for that one, Emmanuel, and get an answer for that and make sure that you're making the best choices for you. Obviously, true emergency, you want to get the best health care you can get in the quickest amount of time possible. If the VA finds that it wasn't as much of an emergency as you might have thought it was, or the medical results show it wasn't, that becomes a different issue. But reach out to the VA directly and try and get that resolved for your own benefits.
Donta had another, Donta Tucker had a question about the type of dental coverages. So that's actually broken down in a few ways. It's going to depend on your situation as far as what type of coverage you'd be eligible for. So anything from 10% or greater is going to determine your level of dental coverage and what you can get done, that type of thing. Obviously, 100% permanent and total is going to be the best way. And like we've mentioned before, if you're not 100% permanent and total, reach out to us and set up a free discovery call. And if it's a fit, what they'll do is get you assigned a coach. You'll work directly with a coach in our elite program, and we'll work to our best to get you the rating you legally, morally, ethically, and medically deserve. It's what we do. I get excited about it, quite honestly.
Great
I know
point.
I don't see the excitement, but
yeah, you do. Like, you're exuding that excitement, man. I can see it. It's blinding. The light is blinding. I just want to refer you guys to a comment in the chat from Stacy Allen, one of our veteran coach managers here. He threw up a link to the CHAMPVA program guide, all 93 pages of it, where you can get a lot of information, very specific, detailed information. It might answer some of your questions that we just touched on here. Appreciate Stacy being on board and sharing that information with us. That's going to be that's there to help all of you right there. Check out that link for the CHAMPVA program guide.
Yeah, we're getting some good shout outs too.
Yep.
Love it. Love it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Coach Gill, I turned from coach to cheerleader when my veterans love working with get a rating increase. So if you listen to some of my calls, you would see how excited I get. It never gets old. So yeah, definitely look forward to working with anybody. All of our coaches are amazing, and if you do sign up with us, yeah, we look forward to getting you.
Yeah, we appreciate those testimonials. You know, I'm with you, Ash. I mean, the best calls we get to have are the ones where we're celebrating with our veterans that they've accomplished something. And for some vets, it's their first rating of all, 10%. You know, first thing they ever got. You know, they've been trying on their own and never got anything. For others, it's reaching 100% permanent total, and there's many steps along the way. So it's not a matter of, you know, you sign up, you file a claim, you're 100% permanent total. Unlikely. Okay, happens, but it's unlikely. More likely than not, it's a process. It's a journey. You're going to take the steps that make sense to you. How do you determine those steps? By talking to a coach, building a strategy. If you want to sign up and work with me, there's my link right there on the screen. You can click on that, and that'll allow you to sign up to work with me directly and have me be your assigned coach. I'm sure Ash's link will be thrown up there here in a minute as well. If you still have questions, feel free to sign up for that discovery call. There's Ash.
Yay!
Sign up to be have him as your coach as well. And when you work with us, you don't just work with one of us by ourselves. We have a team. We each have our own assistant there to help you and to help us help you. And we also work within teams within the company, and then we have multiple teams within the company. And all of us rely on each other to do the best we can for you. We're always learning. We're always expanding our knowledge and our experience. And with all of the coaches we have, pretty confident that if one of my vets asks me a question I don't personally have the answer to, pretty easy for me to reach out and find that, whether it's from one of the other coaches on my team, whether it's from my veteran coach manager who operates and runs our team, or whether it's one of the other coaches of the other 6 or 8 teams that we have. There's a wealth of information, and we share all of it all the time with all of us.
Yeah, good point, and that's been proven in the chat. So we've had some of our veteran coach managers, some other coaches helping with some of the questions in there as well, because we do work as a team. A lot of us are veterans, and not everyone, but we still have that mentality. We work together as a team. We thrive as a team, and we're able to support each other and back each other up for sure. Medically board retired. Love the questions. They are just pouring in, trying to keep up with
Mark
everything.
was asking, I'm medically board retired, myself and wife from the TRICARE Prime, not sure how TRICARE relates to CHAMPVA. We covered that earlier in the process. If you're eligible for TRICARE, you're not eligible for CHAMPVA. Again, CHAMPVA is a program that's only available to dependents of veterans who are rated at 100% permanent and total. If you're not 100% permanent and total, your dependents aren't eligible for it. And you're never eligible for it as a veteran. You're eligible for other programs. So it's dependents only of veterans, 100% permanent total. Faye and Bill Moses, all of those links will be in the article. We posted a link to the article itself. Go ahead and check that out. We have all the information there to help you. Yeah, there's a link to the article, the 7 CHAMPVA myths. All right, let's see. Michael Golub, you sent when you 100% VA disability, they backdate your effective date. Will that work for you? Well, not sure what you mean by they'll backdate your effective date. Your effective date is going to be whatever the VA determines it is based upon the combination of your intent to file date, your diagnosis date, your claim submission date. It's a little more complex than most people realize. Whatever your effective date of being rated at 100% permanent total is your effective date of being rated 100% permanent total. And that's for every benefit that entitles you to, which would include CHAMPVA. But until you're rated, you're not going to be eligible for that. Now, if what you're asking is once you're eligible and they determine that it's backdated for a number of months, can you get CHAMPVA claims approved? I have no idea. That's something you're going to have to ask CHAMPVA once you're eligible for those things. You got any thoughts on that, Ash?
Yeah, I'm kind of tracking with you on that one, because it's something separate than your actual disability claim. You can file for CHAMPVA immediately after getting 100% permanent and total, or permanent and total to begin with, and so it's a separate animal altogether. But you can't apply. I think that's really the main thing to focus on, is when you can actually apply, who's eligible, when you're eligible, that type of thing. That makes sense?
It does to me.
Okay.
Well, we're getting some of you are thanking us for what we do in the information, and frankly, I just think I can speak for Ash on this one. It's an honor to serve all of you as veterans. Most of us here are veterans ourselves, or veteran families, and many of us do this job so that we can give back to fellow veterans, so that we can help you in ways that you deserve to be helped. As a veteran, we have all of us have tremendous respect for our fellow veterans. We know what you've been through. We know what you experienced, and it's not a matter of what you did. No matter where you served, no matter what you did, no matter when you served, you did serve. You agreed agreed, you signed on the dotted line, and you were prepared, and you were sent wherever they needed you to do whatever they needed done. And so we don't look at it as, well, you aren't a combat vet. I don't care. You're a veteran. You served. If you served honorably and you ethically, medically, morally deserve the benefits that you're seeking, you should get them. And that's the way we approach it. So for all of you that are thanking us, you're welcome. And for me personally, it's my honor to serve you. I truly feel that way every day.
Yeah, you could be 100%, but not permanent and total. Yes.
And that is something that you might want to take a look at, because the VA can review your ratings and reduce you. And if you deserve to be 100% and permanent and total, you should be. We can try to work with you on obtaining that designation to your rating as well. That's a slightly different program, but it's something that we can help you with. But don't ignore it, because that can be reduced. Until you're permanent total, your rating can always be reduced. It's not willy-nilly. They don't just randomly go through and say, we're going to reduce Gil, we're going to reduce Ash. No, they have a process. You just don't want to get stuck in that process if you can avoid it.
Yeah, that could go down a rabbit hole. But for today's class, kind of stay on topic on that one. But yeah, we can definitely go down a rabbit hole on that one. It's Clyde.
Clyde's asking about Clyde's question about submitting evidence.
Yeah, that's if you're an elite member, Clyde, I would recommend getting with your coach. Again, depends on the caseload of the VA, right? So definitely call the 800 number. You can get information on that. But if you are an elite member, get with your coach and see if they have any extra information. But you can always call the 800 number for any information as far as making sure that they got everything, or va.gov. You can log onto there.
Ash, I was having so much fun working with you here. I almost lost track of time. We're going to have to wrap this up here, folks. We've only got a couple minutes. I know, no, don't make us go. For those of you that we didn't get your questions answered, we'll do our best to have someone reach out to you, answer them, probably on Facebook Live. We've given you a lot of resources to take a look at. If you have questions specific about CHAMPVA, take a look at that article again, The 7 Myths of CHAMPVA. Take a look at the link that Stacey Allen provided with the guide to CHAMPVA. There's a wealth of information out there for you. If you want more information about your VA disability claims themselves, and you're not a member, we strongly recommend that you take a free discovery call with one of our reps. Ask the questions that you have. Get the information about how we work. And get signed up to work with us. If you want to work with Ash, you saw his link there. You can sign up to work directly with him and have him as your coach. If you want to work with me, you can do the same thing with my link there. Once you get signed up with your coach, you'll have a one-on-one strategy call where we'll go through where you are in the process, what you're rated for, what you've been denied for, and try and come up with a strategic plan to get you the benefits that you deserve. This is where a lot of vets suffer. They don't have any strategy. They just throw everything at the wall and hope something sticks. It's not a smart way to do business. We've come up with better ideas to get you what you legitimately deserve the best way possible. We'll work with you and coach you through your claim submission process to try and make sure that you do it right. And we'll prepare you for that all-important C&P exam. It's crucial. We do that through one-on-one coach, through Zoom classes that we hold that are available for all of our members to attend as many times as they want. We do that 3 times a day. We have coffee with the coaches. And if we didn't mention it, our founder, Brian Reese, has a new book out, a new version of his book, You Deserve. We strongly recommend that you take a look at that. It is an awesome resource, not only for what you deserve from the VA, but what you deserve from your state benefits also. A lot of states have benefits for veterans that many of us fail to consider when we get the rating that you deserve.
Absolutely.
Ash, Take us out.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and just kind of go in from there. Part of this class today was about benefits that you would be entitled to once you get permanent and total, of course, right? And that's the bonus of it. And other than that, I appreciate everyone being here, asking tons of questions. I really enjoyed it. Always love it with Gil Sugar because it is an amazing name to say, Coach Gil Sugar. I mean, come on, everybody, say it together. Coach Gil Sugar. Uh, Amazing coach, an amazing team. So I appreciate you being here. Everyone else, um, again, reach out if you want to book your discovery call, get some more information, see if we're a good fit for you. But other than that, we will see you on the other side. Thanks so much for being here. Absolutely.
Thanks, veterans. Great to see you again. Thanks, shipmate. Great to